Well, the idea that people will have to have a jab to get on a plane in 2021 is gaining enormous momentum. Margy Osmond is the CEO of the Tourism and Transport Forum. I caught up with her on this topic and more earlier. Margy, the debate about no jab, no fly is clearly hotting up. Bali is talking about being included in such a policy. Is this the only way forward when it comes to international travel, do you think, in 2021?
Well, look, I think it's an important debate to be having at the moment. It's a good question to be asking. I still think there are too many uncertainties around the vaccine and how different governments will respond to the use of that vaccine. But certainly the discussion about how you make sure everybody who gets on a plane is as safe as they can be is a really important one to be having right now.
I noticed that after New South Wales confirmed that they had one new locally transmitted infection, which was a driver who drove aircrew from the airport to hotels, Mark McGowan was at a press conference talking about his ability to close borders again.
Oh, look, I mean, I think this is the moment where we say yet again, now is the time to manage the risk, not treat this as an ongoing emergency. Yes. One case is just no good reason for closing anything. And in actual fact, we should be looking at what kind of mechanisms are put in place for localised lockdowns, as opposed to this mass, let's just shut the whole state down approach. And you've only got to look at places like New South Wales to see why that's just a completely unnecessary response.
So you've got all these business people and families, of course, planning a trip back home to Perth from the eastern seaboard for Christmas, or maybe after Christmas, or even holidays in January and February, and they hear something like that and they think, oh, I shouldn't have committed. And so everything becomes almost in limbo.
Yes, look, Chris, you put your finger right on it. Any of these knee-jerk reactions about the potential to close a border will utterly destroy traveller confidence. Now, you know, we've been doing research, as you would know, all year, and our most recent research is showing us that 25% of people won't be going anywhere over Christmas because they just feel too uncertain about lots of things, and the vast bulk of people are not going to leave their own state because of these uncertainty issues.
That does not surprise me. Now, just when we thought that we were having this comeback in tourism and so many places were booked out completely, the floods arrive, and there may be more of it over the next 3 months. If it's not one thing, it's something else.
Well, look, this falls into the triple whammy category without a doubt. If there's one thing we can't control, that's the weather. And this is hugely unfortunate for a whole range of tourism operators, but it's the nature of the beast. And I think that, you know, these sorts of things will also add to people's desire to have a stay-at-home Christmas. But look, this Christmas is all about visiting friends and family. It's less about the big leisure holiday with the big spend attached to it. I think we have to wait till sort of February, March next year and see how people's holiday planning is panning out then.
You'd be happy about the announcement from the New Zealand government that we could have a travel bubble in force, say, in the first 3 months of next year. Oh, look, before I say what a great idea, it could happen now, could it not, Margy?
Look, I think it'd be fair to say, I think on both sides of the ditch, we're pretty much prepared for this. Governments on both sides have been working with industry for 6 months, you know, to have a contingency in place to know what could and should happen. But the other part of this puzzle is that it is about public confidence, and these are decisions that governments will have to make around health and public confidence. Clearly, from the New Zealanders' perspective, they feel the need to wait a little longer. Bottom line is, at least we've got the certainty that something will be happening. And to be frank with you, Chris, the whole world is watching how the bubble will work between Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, very true. I guess the message from your members to the public tonight is travel, spend up big, save us so we don't fall off the cliff in March.
Well, that would be very nice. That's a very clear and to-the-point message, Chris. I think also I would add to that, see your family and friends and have an absolutely fabulous time, but have a thought process about the businesses you're supporting. And certainly, once again, on our research, that seems to be pretty high on the list of people's considerations when they are booking a holiday. So that's terrific. That says great things about Aussies.
It's hard to determine whether the tourism trade has been smashed to bits about, you know, from COVID-19, considering the fact that we've had these prop-ups with JobKeeper and JobSeeker, etc. But clearly there will be tourism operators up and down the east coast of Australia who won't return in 2021, will they?
No, absolutely not. We are going to see a loss of content, and don't for a moment think there aren't a whole lot of other operators who are hanging by their fingernails. It is wonderful that we are seeing a surge in interest in Australian tourism and people wanting to get out and about, hopefully, and have a whole lot of experiences. But without those international travellers coming back, given how much they spend, because look, your average Chinese visitor was spending $8,500 while they're here, and your average local might spend $1,500. You can see there's a very big gap happening there. And in this short term too, nobody should be complacent and think that the industry's saved because there's lots of travel going on. Much of that is visiting friends and family. So people are staying with their friends and their family and not really spending money in the kinds of places we need them to.
And of course, if you can't find a coastal getaway as a late booking, there's always inland Australia, right?
Oh, it's not like we have a shortage of destinations. Now, it is true that a lot of the popular spots are booked up, but that would happen in any given year. And I suppose it's a little bit worse this year from that perspective. But there are plenty of lovely places to go. All you have to do is let your fingers do the walking, get onto that internet and have a look. Every destination agency in the country has got terrific options. Everything from the Coorong in South Australia to fabulous Cairns in northern Queensland, or just, get out west in New South Wales or in Victoria. Plenty to see.
Some positive travel signs as we get towards the end of 2020. Let's keep our fingers crossed that builds in 2021. Margy, Osmond, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, Chris, and you have a lovely and safe Christmas.